and glad that you're here on Saturday morning. Got my Circle K coffee. I went really cheap this morning. It's pretty good coffee though, by the way. Thank you for joining with us Saturday morning. I know when you got up this morning, you said, I can't wait till Pastor Tad goes Facebook Live. Well, here we are. I'm sure that's what you were thinking. And thank you for joining with us. I see the Atwell's already on here and Kelly Krusner, different ones. Make a comment, please. Let us know that you're watching. I've had so many comments from people that they're enjoying this. I mean, hey, we're just experiencing all of this together. We're trusting God. And I thank you for watching. If you put a little comment there, it lets us know that you're watching, that you're paying attention. Some of you are going to watch it live today. Some of you may watch it archive. I'm looking. We have the hollers on there. And Deanna Jones, thank you. I'm just trying to... Miss Amy. Miss Amy is my camera crew today. She's right. I can't see who's joining us. Miss Amy is writing names down for me. And so, hey, we're a real professional crew here this morning. And but thank you for joining us. We're not going to sit around and worry and fear and fret. I mean, we're not the ones in control of this set of circumstances here. We're trusting God. And as Brother B always said for many years, we're going to take this, we're going to trust God day by day. Day by day. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. And so we're trusting the Lord. If we want to say anything, we want to say something good about God. That's what our passion is. That's why we're going to look in the Bible just very briefly today. I want to bring you up to date on some things. But our whole passion is to say something good about God. So today was the day we were supposed to take our children to the zoo in Columbia. And the kids had earned it by being faithful to the missions conference, but all that's been changed. My goodness, you think about it. 1 week. 1 week. Seemed like our ministry, our lives, our world in some sense has turned upside down in 1 week. 1 week ago today, Brother Farrell and Miss Regina, they were coming on the property preparing for revival starting last Sunday. And then after Sunday night, we decided to postpone all of that. And then Brother Farrell was diagnosed Monday with a brain tumor. And then all of this stuff going on in the world. Our offices are shutting down, our ministries. Some of you are being greatly affected. There's no question about it. But we're going to trust the Lord. I'm going to have a prayer request time at the very end. But I can't go on too far without mentioning this to our church family. Pray for Brother John Sanders. You know, we've been praying for Jody, and she's been up at the hospital, and these have been difficult days for them because of even the clampdown, which is necessary, of course. Folks at the hospital, and they've had limited time to be able to spend with Miss Jody. But about 3:45 or thereabouts this morning, Miss Jody went to heaven. And I know many of you, you know Brother John, you knew Miss Jody very well. You love them, they loved you. And so pray for John if you would, please, and all the uncertainty of all of this going on. We don't know the details of anything yet, what's going to happen the next few days. But thank you for reaching out to John, especially folks that know them very well, and especially those folks in the Adult 3 division. And thank you for loving on them and encouraging. I know it's a fact. Brother John is thoroughly exhausted. He's exhausted and probably was up most all the night. And but thank you for loving on them, and I'll say more about that at the very end. But I just wanted to let you know that. All this stuff going on in the world, can I remind you, let's go to the Bible. Let's go to the Bible, because I was just talking to my brother-in-law on the phone just a moment ago. We were kind of laughing a little bit, but it's actually not fun. He's quite serious. It's amazing when you come to a time like this, all you have is God. That's kind of crazy when all you've got is God. But you think about it. That's all you need. That's all you need. This is our time. This is our time to rise up and show that we have faith in God. This is not the time to tear up and to fear up. It's not time for that. This is time for us to rise up and show that we as believers, the people of God, that we trust Him, just like those disciples in the storm. And Jesus was asleep and he calmed the storm. He can do that in your life and mine. We can be in the midst of the storm and still have faith in God. I want to remind you this morning from the Bible. I'm looking at 2 Timothy. We often preach from this passage. It's kind of descriptive of the day in which we live. And Paul was writing to Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 3. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. That word perilous means really savage time. It has the idea of times and days that are hard to bear. I mean, days that you just don't know if you're going to make it. Now, I'm not sure we've actually even come to those days yet. The Bible tells us those days are coming, but in reality, we can look at this one or two ways. Oh, these are days that are hard to bear. These are savage days. These are perilous days. On the other hand, we can look at this and think, at some level, we're being simply inconvenienced. Now, I'm not suggesting that when people's jobs are affected, people's incomes are affected, certainly people's health may be affected. I'm not suggesting that's just simply an inconvenience. But for most of us, many of us I would say anyway, there's just a little bit of inconvenience. I mean, kids are home from school and maybe there's a little layoffs. I don't know. I'm not making light of any of that. But in reality, I think sometimes we probably need to tough up. I think sometimes if we're not careful, we're a little bit spoiled. And, you know, you go back some generations. You go back to the World War II generation before I was born. I was born in 1962. But the generation before me, they were tough people. And some of you are watching this morning. And I know we're being a little bit inconvenienced, and some it may be more than an inconvenience. I'm not suggesting that it's not. But I think we need to have that World War II generation mentality. We can do this. Come on, younger generation. This is your time to rise and shine. We can sit around and talk about how difficult it is, or we can also say something good about God. Paul said to Timothy, perilous times in the last days, savage times, days that are difficult to bear are going to take place. And he goes on to talk about all the difficulties that we're going to face in these last days. But he talks about in verse 11, he talks about persecutions and afflictions and all of that. But then he says in closing, he says in verse 14, he said, Timothy, I want to remind you, continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned. He said, Timothy, the things that you know about God, the things that you know about His Word, the things that you know about walking with God and fellowshipping with God and having faith in God. Hey, can I remind you, church, you continue in that. Continue. Lift your head up. Lift your head up. And have the right spirit, the right attitude. You can make it. I want to remind you, we want to help you if we can. We want to help you if we can. And our younger generation, I'm proud of you. You are rising up. If you need help, some of you seniors, if you need some help going to the grocery store, some of our young ladies in the young adult division have decided to help you. Please contact me, contact my wife, Miss Amy. If you have Kayla Whittle's information, contact Kayla. Contact Julian and Sybil. We're trying to stay in communication. Preacher Tad, why are you doing this live at 9 o'clock every day? Because we're trying to stay in contact. We're not able to be here physically tomorrow to meet together as the body of Christ, as the church. But we want to encourage you. So thank you for watching this and thank you for sharing this. I heard some comment yesterday that from some religious leader that the church is not going to be able to meet back together until the government allows it. Really? Until the government allows it? Well, I don't know that we've ever met because the government allowed it. This is not about the government. This is about just being wise. And I will tell you, a pastor friend of ours, Brother Kenny Baldwin, many of you know him or heard him preach. He was diagnosed yesterday positive with coronavirus. And well, that's interesting, right? But how does it affect him? How does it affect his church? By the way, he's doing well. He's not in a deathly situation, praise the Lord, but he does have positive tests for the virus. But it affects his entire church because his church, evidently, from what we've heard, has to be quarantined. So if one person like that is affected, then it affects so many other people. So that's why we're simply trying to be wise. It's not about the government. It's not about us living in fear. It's not about us being afraid to meet together. We're just simply trying to be wise. So, in the meantime, we can meet together this way. So, thank you. Thank you for participating and watching. You know, I want you to share some ideas. Here's my thought. We're going to be together tomorrow. I will remind you about the schedule in a moment. But I've heard some ideas about how can the church continue to meet, maybe even more so than just by way of media, by way of video. Are there other ideas? I heard one church might have a drive-in church where people come on the parking lot. They have a sound system. People stay in their cars, almost like the old drive-in movie days. I don't know about that. Maybe you've got an idea. How could we possibly still minister to people? Would you put that on Facebook? I want to look at it. I won't be able to see it until after this is over, but share some ideas. I found out a long time ago that the greatest ideas that I ever came up with, I didn't come up with them, because I believe that there are so many people who have good ideas, and I'd like to hear from you. What could we possibly do as a church? This certainly affects everybody. It affects us as a staff. It affects us here in the office. It affects us as folks who are supporting missionaries. Pray for the Durdens. The Durdens are scheduled to fly back to Japan on Monday, 2 days from now. You know, all of these decisions that have to be made. Jerry Gefeller now, more than likely, is not able to fly home for his own brother Seth's wedding from Cape Verde, Africa. So, yeah, it's affecting all of us. Pray for Brother Tom Farrell. He texted me last night. You know, he was diagnosed Monday. He was here for revival. We had to cut it short. And Monday he got a diagnosis about a brain tumor. He's having surgery, Lord willing, this coming Thursday. In the midst of all this, Brother Tom is going in to have surgery on Thursday. So pray for Brother Tom and Miss Regina Farrell and their family. Again, pray for Brother Kenny Baldwin, if you would, please. We've been asked from the Adams family to pray for Gray Adams. Gray's in the military out in Louisiana, so I think about all of our military. Could I remind you also about giving? As I kind of close this morning, I could go on and on. We could talk about perilous times, but in reality, I think sometimes if we're not careful, it's not quite as bad as what we think it is. We just need to have the right attitude and trust in God, have faith in God. We can still minister to one another. We can still contact. We can still communicate. And God is not dead. God is alive. God is well. God's going to help you. I really believe that. So we're praying for one another. And we're concerned about one another. Please contact us if we can help you. But obviously we're concerned here at the local church. The ministry goes on. Remember, we've said the church is not closed. Only the building. Our ministry goes on. We support almost 120 missionaries. And we have an obligation. They're being affected by this. And I know at some level we're all being affected financially with the economy and all of this. So I want to encourage you to give. I'm simply asking you to be faithful, be committed. I know that some of you may be affected with job situations and uncertainty. But I want to challenge you to put God first and be faithful. We sent out some information yesterday. You can basically give one of two, maybe three ways. The first way is you can mail it in. Remember, we do not receive mail at our street address. Our mailing address is P.O. Box 1730, Clearwater, South Carolina, 29822. By mail is certainly acceptable. You can also give online. You can go to our website and give online, or you can give through the Realm app. And so you can even set up recurring giving where it's just regularly taken out. You can do that however my wife and I will be giving that way. I encourage you to give. We have staff. We have missionaries. We're 2 weeks away from getting the certificate of occupancy on our brand new building. I mean, nobody would have planned it this way. I mean, furniture is being bought. Blinds for the windows are being bought. Supplies for the nursery are being bought. The building's looking beautiful. We're about 2 weeks away from getting the CO, and then we have to put all the furnishings in it. We still have Easter coming up. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. We still have the dedication day, the grand opening day on April the 19th. You know about as much as I do about whether we're going to be able to see all this come to pass or not on that schedule. I don't know. Some of you are even giving on the wish list, or you're going to the wish list for the new building. So thank you for doing all of that. Here's tomorrow's schedule. 10 o'clock. I want you to, you folks who have children at home, gather your kids together. It's just a short time together, but we want to encourage our children because we're not able to be together for Sunday school, for Awanas and Super Church and all of that. Miss Amy, my wife, will be telling a Bible story from 10 to about 10:15. And so gather around, have your kids watch. I don't know if they'll be in pajamas or be dressed. You do whatever. That'll just be fun no matter what happens. But we want you to gather your kids together. She might even ask for some response. We want to know who's watching. Put your kids' names on there. So-and-so is watching and all of that. And Drake is watching or whatever. You put that on there. And that'll be encouraging. So children's time, children's Bible time at 10 o'clock. About 10:15, Brother Tim Goodwin, our assistant pastor, will be teaching an adult Bible lesson, a Sunday school lesson. And then about 10:35, after about 15 or 20 minutes of his teaching, about 10:35, we'll go right into music. And we'll have another video clip or two of the choir. That's always encouraging. Some special music. Maybe Brother Wes will have some live music. And then, Lord willing, I'll be preaching. That's the schedule tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, the same thing. So we love you. We praise God for you. And thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your words of encouragement. And remember, all we can do is say something good about God because He's still God. Lakeside is not closed, only the building. Lord willing, we'll see you in the morning at 10 o'clock. God bless you.